My next guest is coming off a huge win last weekend over Austin Hubbard, getting that first-round submission victory. It is Joe Solecki back here on the program. Joe, how's it going?
Oh, great, man. Much better than last time we talked.
Yeah, I mean, what a crazy, I should just say crazy weekend, because not only do you had the impressive win on Saturday, but also your wife's about to go into labor. I was telling you off air, man, I appreciate you taking the time here. What's going through your mind right now, coming off the big win and about to be a dad?
Oh, man, I'm just glad it held off from Saturday, because we just got back. She was having some contractions and went to the hospital just to check everything out. And they said, we're going to send you home, but wouldn't be surprised to see you back tonight. Or even sometimes it could go a couple weeks sometimes, but it's early labor. So, yeah, I'm just glad I made it to the fight. I got the win, so that was awesome. And now I get to come home and, I was back to training yesterday, and then today just getting to be a husband and almost dad.
How much was that on your mind walking into the cage on Saturday? Because that was a really impressive performance.
Oh, I appreciate it. Yeah, it's always on my mind. Like even before the baby, like my wife's on my mind, my family's on my mind, like whoever supports me is on my mind. So it was definitely, but not in an emotional way, just like the same way if there was a crowd, I'd look out and find my wife and some of my friends and my family. Same thing. I was just thinking about it even though they weren't there, but in a non-emotional way, just in like a let's do this type way, but definitely on my mind for sure.
There's not a ton to unpack from the fight because it was so quick. Of course, you had the triangle in pretty early, and I know you kind of what you always do, which is you're working towards a submission, and you finally got the tap. And for us at home, I don't know if you saw the replay, but it was a bit of an awkward stoppage because Austin's back was to the camera, so no one really saw that he tapped. And then Herb Dean obviously waved in, and we're like, oh wow, he got it. When you had that hold in the triangle, especially, did you feel like it was only a matter of time?
Yes and no, because I know how tough he is to submit. You've seen him on the ground with really tough guys. But with that in mind, I know that if I'm on anybody's back, I have a chance to put them away, But I knew anytime I spend there, I'm scoring. And I felt like the punches from the back were actually doing some decent damage and making him – because if I hit him to the face, he would cover, and then I'd hit him to the body on the ribs, and he would kind of lower and address it. So I think I was making some headway there. So I figured, I was thinking about maybe falling off the back and trying to get back on that double and put him on the wall again. But I just kind of thought I would hide there and see how I could go, and it worked out, He's a tough guy. I think he kind of not let me get under there, but didn't fight it as hard as he could have because of how it was going before that. My coaches were talking about this is sometimes if you go out and somebody comes at you aggressive and, maybe they hit you or they almost hit you, but you take them down, they're almost like that mentality of they're fighting so hard to get up or survive. They're like, man, if I just get on the feet again, you're dead. But I think because I did so well on the feet, just the few exchanges we had, it seemed like I was a little faster, a little crisper, and a little more prepared that night. Not that he by no means quit, but I just think he didn't fight it off as hard as he could have. He didn't really fight the hands. That chin kind of lifted once I got around the chin. He kind of lifted, let me in. I think he kind of checked out. Not discrediting him, just. No,
you're being honest. I mean, it's a great assessment, yeah.
With no hope of getting back to the feet because it wasn't going his way there either. So that's the crazy part is he ended up shooting in. I watched it back, and I thought he did, but I wasn't sure. I hit him, and then he shot in. I kind of threw a knee, and then we ended up clinched up. So I think I was definitely getting to him on the feet, and that led to the submission ultimately.
4 years ago, that's the last time Austin Hubbard was submitted in a fight. First time getting finished in the UFC. I know most of your wins are by first-round submission, but is that how you envision the fight playing out? Because, you know how durable he is obviously heading in.
Yeah, no, not at all. We knew this was a guy. It'd be great if we can get him out of there. We're going to try if it's there like we did, but we kind of figured we're clocking in for 15 hard minutes. Like the fight before mine, I think the woman who lost, I can't remember her name. It's hard to pronounce, but she was leaving on a stretcher. And I remember walking back.
Agapova, sorry, yeah.
Yes, thank you. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's how I'm leaving here tonight, even with a win. Like, we're leaving here from after a war. And I'm just kind of really lucky that it didn't go that way. Live to fight another day, save those injuries for some fights later on, I guess. But we did not plan for that. No, we thought we were fighting every single – that's what, like I was saying in an interview, is even the way we were clinched up, we walked from one side of the cage to the other. Like, in the past, I might have just shucked him off and tried to land a, cheap little shot there, but I knew if we got any inch there, I needed to take it because he's so tough.
No, very well said. How do you celebrate after a win like that? What's that? Your eighth first-round submission victory, I think, in 12 fights. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's been fantastic. Just very fortunate in that regard. We just celebrate by I ate pizza. I don't drink. I don't party. I don't do anything. I just wanted to get home with my family. So me and my corner, we had some pizza. My head coach, Jeff Jimmo, didn't even do that. He was eating healthy because the next day he had to get up early and go be there for Impic Saganai, who was flying out Saturday. So I felt bad for him. The whole process just starts over for him. He had to be focused, and he's so dedicated to what he does. He's like, I'm going to be up at 6 a.m. tomorrow, getting my mind right, getting a walk, and getting physically prepped to get IMPA ready. But my boxing coach and I and my teammate Zach DeLeon, who's in the corner, had some pizza, watched some TV, watched The Office, and just kind of laughed at some of the funny Facebook and Twitter and Instagram comments that were coming in. But overall, had a good night. Just thank them for their hard work. Got on the plane home. We're back to real life.
What was the feedback like from the UFC? I don't know if you spoke to them, your management has, but they must have been pretty pleased that you went out there and got a quick win like that.
Yeah, I think so. I believe Sean got in touch with my manager, Jason House, and I think he said, good job, and when do I want to come back? And I kind of asked for before the end of the year for sure. And then I also, which is pretty cool, I heard from Reed Harris, who does like a lot of the
and a former WEC president, yeah.
Yeah, and I had met him earlier in the week just in a, hi, how's it going? He did the COVID testing for us, and he texted me and my manager, and I thought it was pretty cool, pretty flattering. He said, once this COVID stuff passes and we're back in crowds, I want to get you in front of some fans and have you be a featured guest fighter at somewhere. That's cool, because one of the benefits to this career is we get to see the world and go to places that are really exciting. So I've had some teammates that have done it. I think Scott Holtzman went to China, which is pretty cool. Just seeing the world, So I took that as a vote of confidence that they thought I was somebody maybe they could get behind a little bit. So that was really cool. And I got a lot of good feedback from a lot of the fans too. It was weird. Like up until this fight, I've gotten a lot of people that are like, hey, I'm going to support you. Not that I obviously need the support, but it was almost like, I'll follow you, I'll throw you a bone, and I'll support you, or I'll buy a T-shirt or something like that to support you. And I feel like it almost switched to like, I got like fan messages this time, like people going, do you have any T-shirts I could buy? Like, I want a T-shirt. You're my favorite fighter. And I've never had that before. So I think that main card slot was like a little blessing that I didn't expect coming. And it's been really positive, man. A lot of great people reaching out and just super pumped about it.
Well, I'm not surprised that the UFC wants to, get you out there and, be one of those guest fighters. I mean, you're very well spoken. We spoke about this after the last interview. I don't know if you ever done public speaking, but it certainly shows. And the results speak for themselves in the cage. I mean, Austin Hubbard, like I mentioned, a very tough guy. So I think that the Joe Solecki stock couldn't be higher. You talked about the fan feedback. One of the things that, you spoke about in the last interview and you spoke about post-fight is you're obviously, you're religious and you're very, much giving credit to a higher power. What was that community response like after the fight? Because I'm sure there's a lot of fans who maybe don't want to talk about religion that much, but you're very vocal about it. And, we live in a society where that's, unfortunately, to some people is frowned upon, and it really shouldn't be. It's nothing but positive. So talk about that a little bit.
Well, absolutely. And that's what me and my teammates kind of talked about is I didn't push anything. I didn't get specific about anything. I just said all glory goes to God, and if that offends someone, I think
it really shouldn't. I mean, come on.
Yeah, well, the thing about that is, if somebody comes up to me and says Happy Hanukkah, I'm not Jewish, but I said thank you so much. Like, we talked about it, I think, before. Like, one of my best friends is pretty devout Muslim, and we talk about God all the time. It's amazing, and it's funny if somebody gets offended by that, or maybe they're being convicted, they feel guilty because I didn't come out and say if you don't believe in what I believe in, bad things are going to happen. I just said all glory goes to God. If you hear that and you're offended, then maybe you need to make a change in your life or something's going on in your life. I don't know. But I've never been offended by anything that anybody says, really. So, but that was like 3 messages. Somebody said, how good's God going to be when you get knocked out in your next fight? And I said, well, he's going to be great.
You can see you can just see the insecurity oozing out that they wish they could do what you're doing. I mean, I get that all the time too. It's crazy. Just people who feel the need to do that because they think it's going to make them feel better, but it really doesn't in the end. It doesn't solve anything.
That's the thing is, and I think people misconstrue is a win doesn't make. Wasn't me. I wasn't praising God because of a win. I was just saying, we both came out unscathed. I think he had a little mark on his eye, and that was it. Yeah, he got a loss, but judging by Tapology, his previous paydays, he was getting paid more than me. So we got to go feed our families in a pandemic. We both went home safely. We didn't end up in the hospital. I'd call that a win, But the feedback was great. Yeah, honestly, for the 3 bad messages I got sorry.
and your dog's excited too. Who wouldn't be?
I got some fantastic feedback from those communities in my email, my Instagram. It was amazing, and that's worth every second. Is people that were commenting on my personality and people saying that my interview was better than the fight. That's kind of cool because that means people really like you for you because I'm just being me out there. So that was more flattering than liking me for what I do for 4 minutes in the cage. That was pretty awesome.
Now, when you say end of the year, I'm assuming November, December. Give yourself a little bit of time to kind of do the dad stuff and then ease back into it. Is that accurate?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, as far as just being in a training camp, but I was back in the gym yesterday. I had a class to teach last night. I roll with all the guys that were in there training. And then today I was back in strength and conditioning. I'll be back training tonight again. So I'm back to full swing. But it would be nice to be able to make some improvements, even though my training volume is the same in and out of camp before I hop into camp. So maybe 3-4 weeks. And then I think December would be absolutely perfect. If it has to be January, that's fine too. But I'd like to be able to go through a little strength cycle in my strength and conditioning just to improve on and rebuild again so I can put my body through, the hellish camp that always comes. But I think that strength cycle kind of prepares us for the hard conditioning cycle of beating our body down in the airdyne with sandbag runs, everything else that we're doing, the hard wrestling. So that's the only thing I need to taper off is my strength and conditioning. Everything else, I'll be back sparring tomorrow. Wednesday's a sparring day. I got a buddy, Brendan Hyde, who has a fight coming up. He's going to make his pro debut in Myrtle Beach, and I got to spar with him Saturday too. So I'm right back to it, But yeah, I think that'd be a perfect timeline. Any time, I'm not in my prime yet, so if I can grow between fights, get 4 or 5 months between each fight, never a bad thing.
Yeah, no, that's great. Any opponents in mind? I imagine, you're creeping up to that top 15, if not, you're already there. I mean, those are the type of wins where you see someone, get a quick finish like that. That's the type of win that's going to get you those bigger fights.
Yeah, 155 is crazy because there's some guys that, my dog agrees. There's some guys that, like Davi Ramos was a good example. That guy's an Abu Dhabi gold medalist, has some big wins in the UFC, but he's not even ranked in the top, I don't think, 20 or 30. So it's such a Shark Tank. I know whoever I get's going to be an absolute challenge, an absolute monster. So I have nobody specific, but I'm also not in a rush. I'm still on my first contract with the UFC. So before fighting some of these guys that are top 15, I think it'd be good to grow into it and to, really solidify myself in the upper echelon. But I'm just going to take whatever they give me, man. It's been working out for me. I've said no to nothing this entire time, so I won't say no. So that being said, I just want to see what they offer, and I know my management's got my back, and we'll just say yes to whatever. My job is just to say yes and show up on fight day.
Most important question in this interview. You got a lot of good feedback. We sort of talked about it. Was there any fighters that maybe reached out and gave you some props that you weren't expecting, anything like that? Because I'm sure the social media following definitely went up after Saturday night.
Oh, yeah. So on the plane ride over, this is actually pretty funny. I love Fighter and the Kid, and I love Below the Belt with Brendan Schaub. I just like listening to fight stuff, but I think they're really funny. I've been listening literally since their first episode, like before they, blew up. And on the airplane, I put on Below the Belt, and I was trying to relax. I'm like, listen to Brendan Schaub. They're not going to mention my fight. I'm a nobody. We were on that time, too. And I'm like chilling out, listening. Fight picks. Let's go to Nick's picks, the guy that does the gambling. He's like, these are the 4 guys to watch, this guy, that guy, and Austin Hubbard. I'd pick them. And then Schaub goes, Austin Hubbard. He's from Elevation Fight Team. And he always just picks guys that he knows the name, And he goes, I lock for the weekend. Pick Austin Hubbard. And even though I know that he was just doing it because that's his team and everything, I took my headphones off real slow. I looked across the aisle at my boxing cover. I was like, well, I got to run to the bathroom. I'm real nervous. My stomach hurts. I'm like, I did this to get away from thinking about the fight. Brendan Schaub just against me. I'm like, I got to go get my thoughts together. So I messaged him, not thinking he would see it. And I guess because the blue checks or whatever he answered, he saw it and he talked about it on the podcast and was like, I'm sorry, I gave you a panic attack, man. And that was the funniest story because I had a Fighter in the Kid shirt on too on the airplane. And I'm like, guys, you're not on my team. And that was funny, but that was probably the biggest one. It was pretty good. Awesome.
Well, Joe, congratulations on the win. Really great performance. Best of luck with everything going forward with starting your family. Just remind people where they can find you on social media. And if you got any sponsors or shout outs or anything like that, I'll give you the last word.
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to thank everybody that supports me first and foremost. I have some great sponsors, the Myrtle Beach Spine Center, Slicer's Hoagies in Florida, which is the best post-fight meal you could possibly have. So good, ridiculous. Buffalo chicken, bacon, spicy chipotle mayo. It's fantastic. But I digress. All my team, man. I got Jeff Jimmo, everybody at Jim O. We got Impa Kasaganai coming up this weekend. I think he's going to be on the main card, which he absolutely deserves. Just a stud of a human being and an athlete. Scott Holtzman really helped me get ready for this. Brian Barberena is coming up in September. His return after back surgery.
I'm interviewing him tomorrow, actually. Yeah, good call on that. Yeah,
such a great guy, and he looks amazing coming off of back surgery. He looks lean and strong, and he was super great in training. He helped me out a lot too. Just a great guy to be around. Everybody at Jim O. Jeff Jimmo's an absolute genius. I just can't thank him enough. He speaks, you believe him. It's amazing. He's just he was meant to be like a leader of other men. We all look up to him so much. Everybody at Salty Dog Jiu-Jitsu, John Salter got a huge win the other night. Time for the title shot. Everybody knows that. We'll see what happens, but I'm going to be really disappointed they don't give it to him. He's just been instrumental in my life and my growth, and not having him in my corner was really, really stressing me out because he's one of my best friends too, on top of being somebody I train with every single day. So we have that rapport where I could pick his name out of a 10,000 person arena screaming because we talk so much, we hang out so much, and him and his wife have just changed our lives forever. It's been amazing being around them. And everybody at Fitness Edge MMA, my boxing coach, Chris Gowd, I thank him every single time, but I'm never going to not just amazing, amazing human being, but amazing boxing coach. He was the guy that said, you're going to go out and you're going to land, and he's going to look to take you down. I was like, okay, boxer, let's leave the takedown coach into the head coach. And lo and behold, I hit Austin Hubbard and he looked to take me down. That's where we ended up getting the win from. So the man's a genius. He's dedicated to the sport. He's dedicated to my career. I can't thank him enough. Hudson Rose from Hudson Rose Athletics has been kind of my rock through the entire quarantine camp, because when we couldn't get into the gyms and we were sneaking in at night, I was going to him every day because he was like, they're going to drag me out of here in handcuffs. I'm training my athletes. I don't care what they say. We've got a job to do. And every single day I went in and saw him, and he's just a complete psychopath when it comes to training. He's already breaking down the fight and what we can do to get better. And we were in today working out, and I trust him with my career. So I just want to thank all those guys. I want to thank my wife, as always. She's been a rock star. She held it down, and she did the one thing I asked her, which sometimes she has a hard time listening, which was wait till I get back and have the baby. So can't thank her enough. And everybody's just been great. Everybody that reached out. You can find me on my social media, just at Joe Solecki. Joe Solecki MMA on Facebook is my page. And Twitter I don't use a whole lot, but I'll complain about Dunkin' Donuts on there or and their customer service, or talk about fights on there. That's about it.